Hello everyone, I am Ragini, MCom Final, MPM Government First Grade College, Karkala. I am going to explain about purchasing power parity theory. The purchasing power parity theory seeks to explain the determination of the exchange rate between the currencies of two countries under a system of inconvertible paper standard. Purchasing power parity theory was developed by Gustav Cassel in 1918. The theory states that in ideally efficient markets, identical goods should have only one price. Next, meaning of purchasing power parity. Purchasing power parity is an economic technique used to determine the relative value of two currencies. Purchasing power parity is the rate of currency conversion that equalizes the purchasing power of different currencies by eliminating the differences in price levels between the countries. For example, burger. If we go according to the exchange rate system, $1 is equal to 70 rupees. So, if we are purchasing burger in US, we need to pay $4, and if we are taking into account exchange rate system, we need to pay 280 rupees per burger in India. But now we are paying just 60 rupees per burger. It is because of purchasing power of people. So, to calculate the purchasing rate of USA and India, we need to divide Indian buying burger capacity with the US buying capacity. Then we will get exchange rate of burger. Before the First World War, many countries were on the gold standard. The exchange rate were determined by the gold specie points. Subsequently, with the breakdown of the gold standard, many countries adopted a system of inconvertible paper currency standard. There was the problem of the determination of exchange rate under this inconvertible paper standard. It was at this juncture that Cassel came out with his solution, the purchasing power parity theory. The events of First World War gave a good deal of justification to the governments to stabilize the price level. Next, merits of purchasing power parity theory. In that first one, the need for maintaining internal stability. The theory stresses the need for maintaining internal stability, that is stability of the price level. Next one, relationship between internal price level and exchange rates. It throws light on relationship between internal price level and exchange rates. Next one, holds good to all kinds of monetary standards. In some degree, the theory holds good to all kinds of monetary standards. Next one, sensible explanation for long-term changes in the exchange rates. This theory is considered to be the only sensible explanation of long-term changes in the exchange rates. Next one, the relative price levels exert great influence on the exchange rates. This theory makes it clear that relative price levels exert great influence on the exchange rates under a system of inconvertible paper currencies. Next one, the events of First World War gave a good deal of justification to the purchasing power parity theory. The events of First World War gave a good deal of justification to the government to stabilize the price level. There are two versions of the purchasing power parity theory. They are absolute version and relative version. In that first one, absolute version. The absolute purchasing power parity theory predicts that price levels will be the same across countries. It is based on the law of one price, states that the same products will have the same prices everywhere. In the words of Cassel, the rate of exchange between two currencies must stand essentially on the quotient of the internal purchasing powers of these currencies. Formula in case of absolute version, R is equal to PB divided by PA, where R indicates rate of exchange, PA indicates price in country A, PB indicates price in country B. Second one, relative version. The relative version of the theory states that changes in the exchange rate takes place due to changes in the purchasing powers of the currencies concerned. Changes in the purchasing power takes place due to changes in the internal price level. Here, some past exchange rates assumed to be an equilibrium rate and is adopted as the base rate, and as changes in purchasing power can be measured by changes in the indices of domestic prices of the countries concerned. Changes in the equilibrium rate can be measured by the ratio price indices of the respective countries. Now, the new equilibrium rate can be known by relating the indices of domestic prices in the given period related to price indices in the two countries in the base period to old equilibrium rate. Formula in case of relative version: R1 is equal to R into PB1 divided by PB0 whole divided by PA1 divided by PA0, where R1 indicates new exchange rate, R indicates old equilibrium rate, PB1 indicates price index of country B in the current period, PB0 indicates price index of country B in the base period, PA1 indicates price index of country A in the current period, PA0 indicates price index of country A in the base period. Next we moving to criticisms. In that first one, it is unrealistic assumption. This theory based upon certain assumptions which are far from true in reality. These unrealistic assumptions include perfect competition, free trade, etc. Next one, difficulties relating to index numbers. The purchasing powers are measured with the help of price index number, but there are various problems relating to the construction of these index numbers. Third one, ignores international capital movements. The theory neglects the effect of international capital movements on the exchange rates. Fourth one, one-sided theory. The theory is one-sided because it considers the supply of foreign exchange only while ignoring the demand side. Fifth one, neglects quality of goods. The theory does not consider differences in the quality of goods as between various countries. Hence, the theory is unrealistic. Thank you.